Welcome, Taurus, to your in-depth horoscope forecast for November. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. This month begins dramatically. The energy from last month's new moon in your sector of relating is still pouring its vibe into the first 3 weeks of this month. Now, this new moon in Scorpio was also in opposition to Uranus in your sign, suggesting that relationships are going to be a highly interesting part of your situation as we enter November. This can give you, if you're single, a real desire to connect. If, however, you're involved in a relationship, it could give you the desire to refresh or to create more personal freedom, or if things aren't going so well, to even think about the relationship's viability. But as we begin this month, so Mercury, the planet of communication, is in reverse in your sector of relating. So the words you use, your mode of communication, and also the things that you want to say need to be very clear right through to the 19th before Mercury starts to go forwards. Mercury retrograde can, of course, cause glitches, misunderstandings and delays, but it can also provide opportunities to re-talk things through, to gain greater understanding, to be a bit more detached, to understand how someone else may see a situation very differently from us. That's quite a challenge at times, but a real gift. But Venus, your ruler, is set to relocate on the 2nd into a much more sensual part of your scope, going into the sign of Sagittarius. And from the 12th through to the 17th, forges an amazing link with Jupiter, the planet of growth and potentially of good fortune. This could see you gain from some kind of intimate association across those days. It could be joyful, it could be linked to money, it could be linked to just getting much closer to someone with quite a mesmeric personality. But as we begin this month, the first 9 days does see Mars and Pluto in conflict. Mars is in a part of your horoscope which can help you as you enter this month and through till day 18 work tremendously hard. It can see you really pour a lot of effort into whatever is really gripping you. But the square with Pluto gives you a bit of a challenge, and that is to prioritize what's really right for you. Because as much as you could be sacrificing with all these energies in the 7th house, and also in terms of Mars being in the 6th, I just feel that Pluto in the 9th house is saying to you, make sure that you give yourself some space and freedom and you don't become overwhelmed by obligations to others. So as much as you can work very, very hard as this month begins and be very determined, try to keep a sense of balance, particularly in terms of those relationships. Now on the 4th, there is a quarter moon in the sign of Aquarius, which for you is very much about your worldly interaction. It's about your relationships with people in positions of authority or those junior to you. Don't try too hard in the following week. Just be your natural self. In fact, from the 6th through to the 12th, the Sun forges a beautiful angle with Neptune, which suggests the more compassionate and sensitive side of your nature can be such an asset to you, especially around friendships, quite frankly. And there could be someone you really do enjoy spending time with, perhaps going to see a movie or a band, or if you have an interest in the arts, that too can be an area that you and someone can come together over and really have quite a connection. However, on the 12th, the full moon in your sign is really important. This is asking you to think in the following 2 weeks whether a relationship is worthy of your continued commitment. Because at times this month, with that fractious right angle at the start of the month between Mars and Pluto and Mercury's retrograde and the electricity of that new moon in the sign of Scorpio last month, You may feel it's all a bit overwhelming, even if it's exciting in some ways. If it's uber dull, that could be something that really makes you think on the back of this full moon. But actually, from the 5th to the 12th and the 11th to the 17th, the Sun in Scorpio then goes on to forge incredibly constructive links with both Saturn and Pluto. So if you're fortunate enough to be getting on well with someone, and it does feel that you've got those firm foundations that you really can appreciate because of your love of security, then it may be something you really are relishing. However, on the 19th, a very dramatic event. Mercury ends the retrograde, but Mars bustles its way into your opposite sign of Scorpio. Now, Mars is going to be in this location for the following 6 weeks, which gives you the opportunity to firm up your boundaries, but also be more competitive. But also, if you're single, gives you the desire to bond with someone who really could make your pulse race that much quicker. But in the last phase of this month, the last 10 days, Mars goes into an opposition with with Uranus in your sign. And that is a really electric, but also very impulsive, and in some ways a little bit of an unstable opposition. But when I say unstable, in a way which actually can be entirely enlivening, because life can't all be about work and commitments and structure and worthy things. Sometimes we just have to let go a little bit. And if you are wanting to be a little bit more daring, particularly around your love life, that influence is certainly going to drive you forwards. It's also true that the Sun moves on the 23rd into Sagittarius, joining up with Jupiter and Venus. Remember, that connect beautifully from the 12th through to the 17th. And this can, in a physical context, see you thinking more about resources, investments, business ideas, anything to do with property. And there may be some opportunities in this regard, especially on the 26th when there's a new moon, and also your ruler moves into the expansive area for you of Capricorn. So it's really quite fascinating as this month draws to a close that if you are interested in getting to know someone more from a romantic viewpoint, it could be through travel or a new environment or someone completely different to you who really captures your imagination, because excitement is something you're going to be absolutely craving as this month draws to a close. So you can see that there is quite a lot of intensity this November. That doesn't mean to say it's going to be shocking in its intensity. It can be very enlivening. But of course, if you are someone who likes things to be very set and stable, that can be a much more difficult challenge. But what I would say to you, Taurus, is that Uranus is going to be with you for around about another 7 years. So it is really asking you to try to get the balance between your individual expectations and also talents. Embrace your talents and fulfill your true potential. But at the same time, it will, in some ways, potentially create some different energies around relationships. But if it does stir things up a little bit, it can reinvigorate an existing tie. It can make it much more interesting. Don't see a desire to spend more time following your heart as being an entirely bad thing for ongoing involvement. It may actually bring greater stimulus to it. But certainly, I think the full moon of the 12th is going to be a marker point, and the following 2 weeks, and that opposition between Mars and Uranus, that if things have really run their course and they're just not switching you on and keeping you interested, this could be a seminal month for you. What will 2020 hold for you in terms of your natal horoscope? Based on your time, date and place of birth, it goes way beyond your zodiac sign of Taurus. If you'd like me to prepare your forecast and you buy it this year, I'll give you the rest of 2019 free, plus you get 30% off. Please see the link beneath this video. But for now, it's been a real pleasure being with you. Good luck and goodbye.